Welcome to Don't Whistle at Night podcast, where Navajo legends echo in the shadows. Darren and Dawn will guide you through the sacred fire of native storytelling, where the old stories breathe, the unknown walks among us, and voices, long hidden, rise to be heard. And remember, don't whistle at night.
Hello, everybody. Hello. Welcome to Don't Whistle at Night. We are broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM in New Orleans. I am your host, Don Yazzie. With me, as always, my co-host, Darren Yazzie. And if you're joining us after the show, the chat, welcome. Welcome to the show. And this is Darren Yazzie. What's up, brother?
Oh, hey. It's been a while since we did a live, so it's been a minute. But
everyone's been bugging, right? They're like, "Hey, when are you going back to the standard episodes?" I'm like, "Hey, the podcast is recorded. It's not live. That's a standard, but we're back, guys. Hello." Yeah, Derek, could you? Oh wait, I forgot what I was going to say. But Darren and I, we do have a guest. A friend of ours that we known for probably like a year by now, and this guy has stories, amazing experiences, and true stories. And also, he's a Navajo storyteller that weaves a culture into the fabric of society, today's society. And I feel lucky and blessed to know this guy and just to hear the stories that we all like to hear from this guy. But Darren, do you have anything you want to say before we introduce Maddie?
Oh yes, Maddie. Yeah, like you said, I think that was the first person you brought in that was it of interest, really. And this man is, he has a lot of stories that he been through, and the tales of caution. A lot of this man has. So he was a guest prior to our New Year's episode. So he did a little chat about the Goatman. We'll probably do a little bit more on the Goatman out there, and let's bring him on, man.
Oh yeah. Without further ado, drum roll, please. Ta-da! Check him out.
Hi everyone. How are you guys?
What's up, Maddie?
Hey,
how's
Matt.
it going? How are you today?
Good. Actually, thank you for asking. It's been a long Saturday. And I told you I was joking about the Red Bull. You didn't have to go and tell me.
Yeah, dude.
I was like, what the heck? I was kidding. I didn't think you're going to take me serious.
Hey man, it's the fuel, bro. It's the fuel. Hey, Cedric Willie right here. He says, Don, you look tired. I am tired. I try not to look tired. What's up, Lee? It's not Z Honey Stoney. Good evening, brother. Hey, what's up, guys? It's Z Honey from TikTok. We got the TikTok world spilling over to the YouTube world. Awesome, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Hey.
I'm so nervous.
All right. Leanne Leclerc. Hello, Leanne. What's up? CG Willie says Maddie is lucky. He gets the new start time too. I guess we rolled out the red carpet a day early.
You didn't have to.
Oh hey. This is all for everybody. You know what I mean? We got to bring the microphone to each and every one of our brothers and sisters, Navajo, non-Navajo, every one of us have amazing encounters and stories that we can add to this strange world that we live in. But without further ado, Maddie, introduce yourself to everybody again. You can do your clans if you want, be as formal as you want. And this is your episode. Go ahead, Maddie, introduce yourself to everyone out there for us.
Hello, my name is Matthew. I come from New Mexico. I live for telling stories. I've always had a fascination with them, but as our culture entails that we're not allowed to bring these stories to life. With that being said, I fought with myself over the years whether I should share my experiences to what I should have done, what I could have done in those certain circumstances. um, but coming on TikTok, building that confidence, and finally telling these stories, I've gotten so many positive and negative feedback, and that's fine. That comes with the territory, no doubt about that. But I've also received thank yous. Telling me that I'm not. I'm glad you told that story. I had something similar, or maybe even a little different. But I'm glad I'm not the only one who's experienced certain things like that. And it's good to know that someone like you, that I had those kind of messages. So it's really good that TikTok and YouTube have reached out to me and gave me some motivation to do tonight's first episode. So if I'm a little if I talk a little too fast, just let me know. I am a little nervous, but um, what else do you guys want to know? I love volleyball. I dabble here in photography.
Oh yeah. Just just as much as you want to introduce yourself, that's okay. And what part of the res were you born and raised at again?
So we go by where our mother is primarily from, and that's Pinedale. And my father's from Coyote Canyon. So I come from Pinedale, but I live in Gallup.
Oh yeah, that's where all your amazing encounters start from there as well.
Yeah.
Darren, do you have any questions you want to ask Maddie before we have him dive into his stories? Go ahead.
So, for no one from TikTok, you usually have you have stories
I can't
that.
hear him.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Hello. Oh man,
Maddie, can you hear us?
I can hear you, but I can't hear Darren.
Ooh,
Oh, what the
Darren? I can hear Darren.
I can't hear him.
Okay. Uh-oh. How about now, Darren? Try it. It's the live. If it was pre-recorded, you get this thing set out. Sorry, guys.
yeah.
You guys watching online. That's strange, man. That's strange. Darren, try going back out. Log all the way back out. Log all the way back in before we continue. I'll wait for you. Sorry, guys out there. Just hang on there. We'll get these amazing stories started very shortly. Najoni Yeja, I made it listening while making spaghetti. Oh, awesome. Nice. That's always good. Kira Jane. Hi, Don, Darren, and Matthew. What's up, Kira Jade? So, all right. So we'll just get into the stories. And Darren, are you okay? Try some again. One more time before we move on. You're on mute, Darren. You're on mute. Darren, you're on mute. Push the microphone. Oh, okay, turn it off. All right. So, Maddie.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I can hear you now.
Maddie. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, it's been a minute, guys. So, yeah, like I was saying from TikTok, you have a lot of.
I don't know what's going on. I can't hear him now.
Oh, okay. Maybe he's using the microphone.
In the meantime, let me introduce myself in Navajo, so that way people know I'm legit. I'm just kidding.
Okay,
Walyat a shidene doshik e Matthew Dawes initiate touching shle nast as a touching bashes chin ashahi dashe torjini dashanale. I come from Gallup, New Mexico once again. I reside in Gallup, born and raised in Pinedale. A lot of these stories come from just growing up being a little res kid. So that's just a short introduction in my language.
Awesome. Maddie, take us into the very beginning of your lifetime, of your strange experiences and encounters and events.
So I never told anyone this. It was a few months after we had lost my mother, and I guess I was in a really dark place. I felt alone. I felt like I couldn't go anyone. I felt like I lost my light. So one night, couldn't sleep. And I remember laying on the floor, the tile ceramic floor, and it was cold. And I'm just sitting there in the dark on the floor sleeping while, my older brothers and sisters were sleeping. And I noticed, because where my bedroom door sits is down the hallway from the living room, so you can see directly into the living room. And we used to live in those housing projects on the Navajo Nation. So all these Inukshuk housings are built almost in a similar way, almost the same floor plans. So the bedroom that looks directly down the hallway into the living room was my bedroom. And I remember I was on the floor sleeping. I couldn't sleep. And, I was on my right side. My back was towards the door. And I felt like someone had ran their cold fingers down my spine. And I thought it was my older sister. So I slowly turned around. And when I did, I was on my left side. And I was looking down the hallway. At the end of the hallway, there was this long, tall, skinny of a gentleman with a top hat. You can see where his shoulders were, his hands were just super thin. And I just remember him at the end of the hallway tapping his right foot, what looked like his right foot. And it looked like something out of a cartoon movie. The best way for me to describe it is relating to the movie called The Corpse Bride, how they have like those lanky body figures and the skinny fingers and just so when I seen him, he was just tapping his foot at the end of the hallway into the living room. And I completely froze. I just felt like the hallway just got longer. And even if I were to run into the next bedroom, it just felt like it was far. And I just remember closing my eyes and praying. The first time I prayed to God. I asked him, keep me safe. I was praying like that as a 10-year-old. I didn't know how to pray. I don't think there's a right or wrong way to pray, but being at that age and being so scared, you just pray for nothing but good things to happen. And I remember when I was almost done praying, I felt this warm sensation on my shoulder, massaging my shoulder like this. And the best way to describe it, it was how my mom used to touch me, like how she used to calm me down. And it was I wanted to cry so bad. And when I felt this warm sensation, that gentleman just walked off into the living room to the other side. And I never saw him again. And that was, I don't know what to take of it, but seeing that I just recently lost my mom, and how I was being touched, and it was warm and I felt safe, and everything just kind of vanished. And that was my first experience with paranormal. And when I look online or look at these certain similarities, they call him Slenderman. So that was my first and only experience with Slenderman. I don't know what he wanted. I never told anyone. But just that cold sensation running down my spine, and him walking down the hallway just kind of freaked me out just a bit.
Huh.
Man. Can you hear Darren now? Darren, log off of your laptop and then get back on. Try it again. Just go completely all the way out and come back in. Try that. We'll be right here. So, how old were you again when you first encountered that again?
I was 10.
10 years old.
10. I turned 10 that summer. And this was going into October, November that same year. I lost my mother in August. So not even a month after my birthday, things turn for the worst. And that was my first experience.
Mm.
After that day, I noticed I could see colors on people. I never said anything throughout elementary, middle school, high school. I just didn't know what they mean. But as I had said before in your your lives on TikTok, I don't want it. I know it comes with a good and bad. I just don't. I just. I don't know. Like I don't know if I should. If I like I'm on the fence now. But seeing that is, I can feel bad. Like I can feel energy too.
All
Wow.
right, can you hear me
Oh.
now?
Can you hear Darren now? No? Can you hear Darren now?
I can hear him on my iPad, but I can't hear him on my phone.
That's weird. That's strange.
Oh,
Okay. Just have your iPad handy then. Because Darren usually has great questions. Darren, do you have any questions right off the back for Maddie? If anything, you can type it in the box, then I'll blow it up for you.
all right.
um okay. So you see people's auras, huh? How can you tell the kind people from the rude people and the evil people?
I don't. The colors will always be there. You can be a good person and have a dark aura. It's the energy. I've noticed that I can pick up energies just like that, like how you feel sick. I know that's not good. When I feel like I have butterflies in my stomach, that's usually something out of love. Like they actually have intentions of spreading their love. If it's like goosebumps, it's like an exciting thing. Like this person's always happy. This person is always on the go. What other sensation do I experience? If my hands are cold, it's usually because the person has a good heart. If I have a fever, it's never good. That one I could never grasp on what that entails. If I have a fever,
Okay.
that one I
So,
could never.
let's see.
Go ahead, Darren.
Is this something you can see through, like a camera or like pictures? You know how you take a picture of someone? Is that still capable? Are you still able to do that? Is this something you can see through, like a camera or like pictures? You know how you take a picture of someone?
We got lag.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm listening to my iPad and listening to you guys at the same time. So
Yeah.
I'm listening to Darren's question. Like for right now, Darren, your aura is orange and Dawn is green. So I don't know what that entails, but I don't get any bad energy from you. As far as pictures,
Right on.
I can't see them. So it has to be like like it has to be a lively thing for me to see.
And another question: what color do you see with these evil entities that you have? You know, you came across a Goatman. You know, the Slender Corpse Bride character. Do they give off an aura, or is it just black? Entities that you have. You know, you came across a Goatman. You know, the Slender Corpse Bride character. Do they give off an aura, or is it just black?
So the auras that I come in as far as entities or these creatures, it's always going to be like that dark, ominous gray. And they have these vibrations that I pick up, and I don't know if I'm a hand trembler. I don't know, but I can pick up these vibrations, and they're really strong, and sometimes they make me sick. Or if if it's all, I mean, of course, it's all bad intention. It's all bad energy. But there are times where my stomach is just turning, or I feel like I have stomach pain, or my gallbladder is hurting. Like it just has that deep pain that I feel.
And what does your parents say about it? Your grandparents? You know, you mentioned your grandfather a couple of times in TikTok.
Pain that I feel.
And what does your parents say about it? Your grandparents? You know, you mentioned your grandfather a couple of times in TikTok.
My grandfather doesn't know. I don't want him to know. I feel like if my family, I mean, I'm pretty sure they know now, but I don't want them to be bringing people around and having me read their energy, because I just don't want that. I really don't.
Yeah.
I guess I'm really private with what I have versus what I share. So with that, I keep it disclosed to myself. But seeing that I'm sharing it online, on YouTube, TikTok, I'm pretty sure they know, but they just don't want to ask now.
Mhm. What about when you meet somebody, you shake their hands, you greet them. Do you like see any like attachments on them, like what's playing them? Could you see that far into them or no?
So lately I've been meeting a lot of people because of TikTok, and there are some people who make my hands itch. As far as attachments, I maybe I could, if I go into more of this gift that I have, but I notice when people who make my hands itch, it's it can go both ways. It could be good, it could be bad, it could be good behind a, it's covering a bad intention. Um, the other day, I shook this person who follows me on TikTok, and he's an older gentleman, and he went to go shake my hand, and being Native American, it's disrespectful to ignore the handshake, whether you like them or not, or whether you feel that negativity or that bad energy. So I shook his hand, and my hands were just itchy, like I was. I'm allergic to certain metals, and when I shook
Yeah.
his hand, my hands just instantly got like super itchy.
Mhm.
I mean, I itched it so bad where there's actually my nails dug into my skin, so that's how bad it was itchy. So it just,
Well,
I don't know. I don't know that part of it. Like I said, I haven't really, um, I guess, allow myself to really explore what I have or what I see.
Yeah. Still
man,
uncovering the abilities I see, huh? Mhm. Go ahead, Darren. What were you gonna say?
you know the Navajos, they say like you have itchy hands. You know you got to go gamble or something. I don't know if it's like that. Uh, you know, like what you said, it's kind of a 50-50. You know, so good covering a bad intention, bad covering good intentions. You know, it's really all on you. You know, like what you said,
Mm.
50-50. You know, so good covering a bad intention, bad covering good intentions. You know, it's really all on you.
We got bad Wi-Fi. Someone has bad Wi-Fi.
I'm sorry,
Someone
I'm
is
listening
lag.
to this question.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. We got bad Wi-Fi. Someone has bad Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, when someone shakes my hand, my hands are super itchy. It can go into, I notice that it goes into like this deep itch. Like I can almost like pull on it. There are other hand, like when other people who I shake their hands, it tingles, like it's just like a tingling sensation, like you've been sitting on pins and cushions. And then there's just other times where I can put on hand sanitizer and the itching will go away. So I because of that, I always have some protection on always. And I've
Yeah.
noticed that there are some people who don't want to give me a hug or who don't want to take a picture with me, and that's fine.
Mm.
And I don't mean to be like a jerk, but I gotta protect myself when I'm out there too.
Oh yeah, you have to. You always have to. Hello everyone that's joining us. What's up, everybody? Hope all is well. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Okay, Maddie. So after you seen the Slenderman guy out there in the hallway,
Mhm.
after that experience, you start seeing orbs and everything, or auras, which is
Mhm.
awesome, pretty awesome. Just don't look at my cat. I'm just kidding. But so after that experience, what else happened to you? Like, I know it must have been more wild after that event.
So with the loss of my mother, um, my family tried to keep my younger sister and I occupied, going to our grandparents and, the whole harvesting side of it, planting corn, growing them, you know, harvesting them, and then the ways of the corn, the potent of being able to dust off the tutadine early in the morning, with the Navajo basket. There's a teaching, there's a song to that. I've learned a lot, and I've also lost a lot just because I didn't want to be connected to it. I've lost a lot, and just with that being said, these occurrences after my mom had passed kind of just one after another, and it's crazy. I maybe I have something on me. I've been to healers, and they would, see with their crystals. Nothing, nothing's on me. But when I did feel that warm sensation on my shoulder, um, that's when I noticed I could see colors. And being that young, I didn't want to look like I was crazy. Been through something traumatic. Being the one to call, being the child, the one that that has to call 911, explain to the operator what was happening to my mom, and then seeing her going into the ambulance, being flown out, like just being there and telling people telling me, "Oh, you don't know what was going on." It's not something I wish on my worst enemy, but I think after she had touched me, I did receive something in return.
Oh,
Um, People always tell me that I'm being too judgy, and I'm never wrong. I'm never wrong about a person. And when I see when I see patients too, my hands would be itchy without me even shaking their hand. I could be just touching them on taking their vitals, and I would get my hands would get itchy. So I've never disclosed that. I just kind of keep everything to myself. Because I'm not about to go to the psych ward, and I'm pretty sure that's where I'm going to end up if I do, start telling people of my gifts. And again, I don't want that burden where people are like, oh, what about this person? What about this person? How do you like? I don't want to be invited to things just because they want me to give them my feedback. And I don't mind, but then again, it's very emotionally and mentally draining, having to see these things on a day-to-day basis. And my family were all, oh, my family's like, you're always tired, you're always drinking caffeine. And it's because I can see what I see or feel what I feel.
Jeez,
uh,
so sounds like I have family members, my in-laws. When my niece lost her mom, it's like everything just like picked up all the supernatural, like even the funeral when they put her mom down to the ground, she was seeing her mom at her funeral, at her own funeral, and seeing her own relatives there around the casket. And, she was just, everyone had to take her away from the funeral. They just said she had a nervous breakdown. That's all what the family said. So, when you lose somebody, whatever gift that they might have had, it passes down. I believe that as well, because I have, I can relate to you. I lost my grandma, and
Mm.
all my amazing stories started after losing my grandma as well. So So I feel you on that, and condolences to you, brother.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
One
was
thing that
gonna.
really bugs me is, oh, I know how you feel. No, you don't. I hate when people tell me, oh, it happened a long time ago. But
Mhm.
the thing is, it feels fresh every time. So when people tell me that, I'm just like, no, you don't. You really don't know. Um, but someone had a question of me having these gifts before or after my mom. So each and every one of my siblings had a dream where my mom visited them. I never got that dream, so I was getting upset with myself. I thought I did something bad, but when this night occurred, I think she gave me more than just a visit, you know? And I swear it was like the warmest touch. And that comfort a mother gives you when she knows you have a bad day or you're going through something. So when I felt that, like I said, I felt safe. I felt like God answered my prayers, or Dinithian was looking out for me, however you want to look at it. Um, and I didn't know how to pray. Like I was telling you guys, I didn't know how to pray. There's no right or wrong way. And just feeling that warm sensation on my shoulder, I was like, okay, I'm okay. I'm not scared. It's whatever. And if, Slenderman wanted to come and get me, he could have,
Mhm. Yeah,
Uh,
most definitely.
Matt,
Go ahead, Darren.
I have a for you, man. Uh, it might be kind of hard, but did you see your mother pass away, or did you witness the last breath of your mother? You hear me? Hello?
Oh, I don't think he can hear you. Um, wait, I think he is. If anything, wait. Okay.
I think.
Hello?
I'm sorry, my mic was muted because I was listening to your question on my iPad. Like I said, I have my iPad on my phone because I can't hear you on my phone, but I can hear you on my iPad. So if I'm looking like I'm spaced out, it's because I'm focused on my iPad. But
Uh,
to answer your question, um, oh my gosh. So the night of everything, my mother tells me, "Oh, go to the cabinet and get me some Tylenol." Okay, get her some Tylenol, and I kind of saw everything unfold from her walking to the living room to her sitting on the porch and just going through what she went through and explain, explaining that to the operator. It was hard. Um, I did have my younger sister with me. I had my nephew, but I think because of what I went through, uh, it opened up a door. And when I say by door, I could hear things, I can see things, but I didn't know what they were. Like I said, I was going through a traumatic event in my life. Um, and then for some reason, I kept telling myself, I bet you she's going to go to the hospital and she's not going to come back. I remember telling myself that. And yeah, I think just because of that, I think it opened up a door in a
yeah,
good way. Not a bad way, but a good way.
Yep.
yeah, I was.
Right here we have Lee right here to back that up. He says, I've always had mine, but it went to full effect after my uncle passed. That's why I'm asking because it sounds similar to a type of hand trembling. Very interesting. Very
Yeah,
interesting.
I was
It's
gonna bring
Yep.
Maddie. I
sorry,
was
give
gonna
me a
bring that
sec.
up. Like,
But
I'm man.
um, yeah, I was the one to report everything back. I don't know why I thought that my mom wasn't gonna come back. I knew I had a deep feeling that she wasn't gonna come back. Um, I went numb. I don't even remember going to the hospital. I don't remember. I remember a few things here and there, but I remember we went from being in Albuquerque And then all of a sudden, I was like, "Oh, we're at the funeral." But days flew by. I don't remember first day of school. I was going into fourth grade, fourth or fifth grade, and I don't remember. I don't remember fifth grade. I really don't. I remember fourth
Oh.
grade. I don't remember fifth grade. I remember sixth grade.
Hmm.
Time just went by. I remember like just few things here and there, but I don't know if it's
Okay.
just my memory playing tricks on me.
Oh,
But
it's all good.
yeah.
It's all good, Maddie. We'll take a step away from that area and probably till next episode. Sorry, Maddie. We don't mean to
No, you're fine.
have you crying on here.
Good.
Everyone's saying hugs online as well. So see, we got friends saying hugs. But,
Thank you guys.
yeah, we're all here for you, brother. We're all here for you, brother.
Oh, I
So
know that for sure. It's just it's a very sensitive topic.
yeah, definitely. We can we'll take a step away from that.
Okay.
So go. All right, Darren, go ahead.
Before
We got lag, Darren. Go ahead.
Yeah, before we take a step back, that's one thing I wanted to bring up. I think there might be some type of death touch with this because the first time I witnessed death, I see the last breath, and it's kind of really odd, and it's really, you don't know what to do. Your mind doesn't know what to do, and your soul still tries to catch up with witnessing this last breath. I always thought this, and since Maddie, this conversation brought it up, it just adds more to the to this whole spectrum. I really thought that this seeing death, seeing this end in this life, it really sparks another life in another person. So it's just like what you said, the this seeing someone pass away and dealing with it is it's hard, and I think that sparks another something in you. But I'm the same way too. I seen that, and just never really the same after that. And to tell you the truth, I really don't. During this part, I don't remember high school. Just after this, so that just adds more to the interest of it. So, you're amongst your brothers here, and you're amongst people that want to listen and understand a bit more, even with Lee right there. So it's something we'll probably talk more about it, because we got to talk more about this and understand it. But right there, I'm sorry.
You be private.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Darren. Sorry.
Life has to be life. It's hard. It's a hard lesson to learn, and the best thing we can do is just teach how to deal with it and understand it a bit more in a healthy way. So, you're a person of interest on this one too. We'll probably talk more about this in private chat. But to this, let's get rolling on your other encounters and see where they go with that, because tell you the truth, I listen to you on TikTok, and I told Don this, like, man, every time Maddie comes on, I have to turn it off because I don't want to ruin it, because you really got a lot of tell you the truth, I listen stuff going on TikTok, and I try to save my virgin ears for this, so because I don't want to ruin it.
All right. Hey, Maddie. I don't know if it's gonna work for you or where you're at, but maybe if you can put your tablet like in another room, maybe you can hear Darren. But if anything, keep an eye on the private chat. Darren will ask you questions on the private chat as well, because we have a like 10-second, 5-second lag. But Maddie, go ahead and take us into your encounter after your early childhood years.
Okay.
Chronological order. But go ahead.
Let me see if I can log on, like use my iPad instead.
Okay.
Rather than my phone.
Let's try that.
So give me a sec. I'm gonna leave and then come back.
All right, no problem. Alrighty. Sorry, guys. This is a live episode. This is what you guys want. So if it was pre-recorded, it wouldn't be like this. So you get what you ask for. So, there's technical difficulties that happen and it's out of our hands. And maybe we'll have internet everywhere and fast-paced internet.
I'm just waiting for someone to I'm just waiting for someone. I don't want to be the first one to fart on live in front of all you guys live. So if I do, that's uncensored right there. So not
hey, what's
right
up,
now.
Miss Honey? Hey, what's up, Melody Alvarez?
Hey, Mo.
What's up, everybody? Sorry we're not responding to you guys right away because we're trying to be respectful to our guests and just have them have the floor. So just give us a few moments. He'll get back on. Technical difficulties. I can't stop this live stream. It is what it is, guys. So just hang on there.
So
talking about Darren's fart. But hey, what's up, friend? Hello. Hello. I see all you guys' chats, so I'm not ignoring you guys, okay? So I'm not being all somehow like that. Maddie will come back on soon and we'll get rolling on the encounter and all his amazing stories. We did not mean to go there to his mother, so shame on Darren and shame on you guys out there for asking more questions about his mom. So I didn't want to get there. I already knew I was going to go there. I was like, oh, I couldn't stop the avalanche. You guys need to be more sensitive. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But everyone has a origin story like that. Every one of us have a painful origin story. Darren has the stories where he was near death. They seen the Yanny, and he has this amazing story, and we almost saw death together too. Over at the Skinwalker Canyon. So it was really bad.
yeah. Those eyes that we seen on the cliff. For whatever reason, I blinked this out until like yesterday. Just those bright eyes that we seen. That's the kind of that shine off that freaking dogman, the werewolf right there at that canyon entrance. Yeah. That's the exact. I don't know, man. It's really bright. Like it was so bright that I know, like, dang, this is an eye. If this is eye shine, it's freaking bright, But dude, it was really something else, huh? Really something else, dude. It was fun, but it was
catch it? Because I put the GoPro on that sucker. I don't know if you can see it on the GoPro.
Yeah, I'm still messing with it. The 360, man, that's a whole different can of worms on that one. But I'm trying to mess with the tinting and all that stuff. So, dude, I'm not a pro at this, so hey, doing my best on it. Yeah. But yeah, man, it's something else, something else. See it and be through it and then live through it. But I don't know how everybody felt afterwards. After a few days, I don't know if you guys felt freaking. Well, obviously you kind of felt sick too, huh? But man, I felt kind of weird afterwards. Like it's kind of lost, lost in the world type deal.
Yeah, especially Lee. Especially bro right here, Cedric Willie. Before we left the room, I told him, I was like, dude, man, I feel like there's like a trap already. I asked him, I was like, hey Lee, look ahead. Do you see what's going on? Because I feel like there's a trap. And all Lee had to do was look down on the ground. He looked up. He's like, yep, there's two of them. And then right when we showed up, we got out. And then he already spotted it already. Right when we got out the truck, he's like, "There's one up there on the ridge, and there's one in the wash." So I'm really hoping that GoPro 360 caught the gun, the shot on that thing right there.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
But besides that, man, it's a weird sickness that comes afterwards, man. I can't. It's something that I noticed with all these encounters that people are usually sick afterwards. It's a kind of unknown sickness, but I think it's a spiritual sickness. you go through and
There he
encounter
is.
stuff with us.
Hey, what's up, Maddie? Can you hear us?
Hey, Matt,
Darren, say
can you hear
something.
Yeah,
me?
I can hear you guys a lot better.
Oh,
Hey, man. Just
Yep.
messing around. Okay, Maddie. Go ahead. Go ahead. Fire it off, brother.
So this next story, first encounter with a centaur. I believe I told this in the very beginning. This is one of the stories that kind of put me on the map too. So we were, well, actually, I wouldn't say we, I would say myself. I would go and see my dad because my parents had divorced after everything had happened. So I would see him on the weekends only. And um he how I know that because he's an avid country dancer. So he would go to um Pueblo Breeze, State Line, all these like res band hitliners, and he would go to these dances. And when weekend we were supposed to go to Albuquerque just for like a like a family day thing. And we go into town and we get like chicken, pizza, and stuff like that. I'm like, what's going on? Like, I thought we were going to Albuquerque. So I was quiet the entire way. We go to the gas station. He goes, grab some snacks. I'm like, oh, okay, I know what this is. So we, make our way to his girlfriend's house. And after my first encounter with Slenderman, I just felt sick going to her house. I don't know what it was, but I always felt sick. I always felt like I needed to shower, or I always felt like I stunk. I don't know what it was, but we get there and I tell my dad, I said, I need to go to the restroom. He goes, oh, you can use the outhouse. The outhouse is behind the trailer. And I go back there and the sun is already setting. And this happened almost 7 months after everything had happened. So this was like early March, following the year after my mom had passed. And I remember going to the outhouse by myself and I could hear someone breathing outside and I thought it was my dad. And I go, Dad, nothing. And I could hear someone breathing. I don't know who it was. To this day, it's still unknown. Um, I get done and everything because I was getting scared. I'm like, Dad. I kept calling for him, nothing. And then I can hear someone walking off. And I open the door and I don't see anyone. I go inside. I said, Dad, were you outside? He goes, no. And his girlfriend had a daughter and a son. And they weren't there yet. It was just the girlfriend. And I said, well, where's so and so? They're like, oh, they're coming back. They should be back anytime soon. And not even 2 minutes later, they come through the door. And I was like, well, I was freaking out, like, who was that? So I left it. I just kind of brushed it off my shoulder. We had dinner. I just remember I wasn't hungry and I could just smell horse. Like I just could just smell a sweaty horse. Like I don't know if you guys worked on a ranch, but for those who do, when you work a horse and they sweat and it just has like that saltiness, I could smell it. And I'm like, where is this coming from? I didn't want to be rude because um it wasn't my household. And I could just smell it and it was really strong. And my dad goes, what's wrong? Well, nothing. Nothing's wrong. He goes, well, eat. I said, well, where are you going? Because I know we're not going to Albuquerque. He goes, we're gonna go dancing. And the girlfriend goes, yeah, we decided to stay. Um, you know, her daughter and her son are gonna be bringing their cousins over, and you guys can play some games. We got you some stuff. We'll go to the flea market. We'll try to make up to you guys tomorrow. So by the time everyone got there, the cousins, because the girlfriend's sister and brother, those were their kids. So they all met up and everything, and they left about maybe 9:30, and it was dark, and the only light on the reservation was the street light, right? So they were playing the Ouija board,
Um, I sat in the living room because I was like, I already knew what it was, and I was already told not to be playing with that kind of stuff. So they were playing with the Ouija board, nothing happened. And we were sitting in the living room, we were watching what is it, Blast from the Past with what the heck was his name? We were watching that movie, and then the son of the girlfriend was like, "Let's go play hide and seek." And I looked at him and I'm like, "It's dark outside and it's raining." He goes, "That's fun. That's more fun." And then all the other cousins and his sister are like, "Yeah, let's go. Don't be a chicken." So I hesitated. I was just watching them the first few rounds from the porch. And again, that horse smell hit me. So it was so pungent and so strong. And I remember I was sitting on the porch and it was quiet. And I could hear something like hitting the ground, like as if the horse was in the horse corral and they're hitting their hooves with the ground. And it sounded like that. And I remember I was looking around and everyone was hiding. I could see people. I could see them. So it got quiet, the rain stopped, and I said, "You know what? Let me just play. Maybe I'll feel better if I play." So how we determine who's going to be the seeker is we all picked a number. And of course, I wasn't the seeker. The seeker gave us about a minute to hide. And I remember I went to go hide behind this teal dually. It had two tires on each side and then one in the front. Pretty sure you guys all know what a dually is, but I remember I hid behind the passenger rear tires, and the seeker was like, "Okay, I'm coming. If I find you, you guys have to run to the porch or beat me to it." So I remember I was there for a while, and it got really quiet, and all of a sudden I see this horse walk up. And my first thought was, okay, that's where I'm smelling that horse smell. And it was just standing there. I could see the tail wagging back and forth. It wasn't like I couldn't see the head, I couldn't see the neck. I could just see the forelegs. And the horse color of it was black. And it had a white sock on the left rear end. And I was like, okay, maybe I'm just freaking myself out at this point. So the seeker was going towards the porch, and when the seeker went to see where everyone was at, this thing laid down. It lay down on all four legs. And I was like, "Where's the head?" Couldn't see the head. And I remember it laid all the way down, and here it was a man. This man was like a bluish gray. It had like a long, I guess goatee or beard. And the hairs on the eyebrow were really bushy. It had like this distinctive forehead. The the bone structure of the cheeks were really, like they were really huge. And I freaked out. And I remember I rolled to the other side quietly, and there was the other cousin. So it was me and her that weren't found yet. And everyone's like, "Okay, we're gonna go back inside. We can't find you guys. You guys win." They couldn't see what we were seeing. And I remember, mouthing to her, like, "Are you okay? Like, what is this?" And she was a little older than I was. And she said back to me, "I don't know what that is. It's been here since we started playing. I haven't moved since the first round of hide and seek." And there was this shed below the trailer, like maybe I would say 40 feet from the trailer. And this shed was where they put all their belongings. It was never locked. So when they went inside, we heard the door slam, and then this centaur gets up on his hind legs. He leans forward, and then he hops up, and he starts walking off towards the house. And I signaled to her like, "Come on, let's go, let's go to the shed." So we go over there, and nothing. I was waiting for for anyone to scream in the trailer that they were in, and she goes, "Let's hide. We need to hide." I said, "No, we're okay. It's not gonna come in." And sure enough, the door slowly started to open, and she was like, "Oh my!" Well, shh. So she immediately climbed to this pile of totes. She hid in the very corner. She stood up. I hid underneath the table in the middle of this shed. And when I hid myself, I was coughing because of all the dust and whatever possible mouse droppings, whatever. And I remember doing this, and I'm just like coughing, trying to not make a lot of noise. And then you hear all the way around the shed, and I could see it was the centaur. And I don't know how big it was. I don't know. It was just a big creature, and this thing kept walking around all the way around, and it was sniffing. And then it would make that snorting noise that horses would do when they smell something off. And I remember we were in the mud underneath the car, so I don't know if it smelt the mud, but it walked out. And when it walked out, the other cousins saw it, and they started screaming. They started screaming. It took off. You could hear it galloping off into the distance. And I told, I guess for safety reasons, I'll call her Raylyn. I signaled to Ray. I said, "Come on, we gotta go inside." We ran out the shed. We go into the trailer. And by the time we reached the porch, my dad's truck was already coming up. And he's like, "What the hell are you guys doing outside? It's 1 in the morning." And we all looked at each other like we were only out here we felt like we weren't even out there for that long. Because by the time they left, which was about 9:30-ish, we've only played a few rounds. And he's like, "It's almost 1 o'clock. What are you guys still doing out here?" And we all looked at each other like, and to this day we never told anyone. But just that sound of hooves on a stable or getting into the horse trailer, it just instantly brings me back to me hiding underneath it, under that table in the shed.
So you guys went from playing hide and seek to actually playing hide and seek with the with the monster, man. That is crazy. That put the chills in anybody. It's hide for fun, and then it's hide for your life, dude. That is crazy. That is
Yeah,
crazy.
and then like I said, I could just smell like a sweaty horse before everything had happened. And my dad, the next morning, he goes, "Are you okay? You seem kind of off. What's wrong? What's wrong, Shieja?" I was like, "Nothing, Dad. I'm okay." And then the girlfriend noticed her kids were like that. And she goes, "What happened? What's wrong with you guys?" And we're like, "We're fine. Like, we're just tired." And then we just got lectured, like, "You shouldn't be out there at night. There's things out there that, take children. You shouldn't be out there at night." Like, I'm like, they weren't kidding. Like, it was, oh, I don't, I
Man,
don't know what to think of it. Like you said, from playing hide and seek for fun to actually hiding. Because I didn't know if he was gonna take us. I don't know if he was gonna unalive us. It was just something like, holy shit! Like, this is like in the movies. Like, you're hiding for dear life, and
Yeah, like
it, it's intense.
what's up? Oh, man, that's
yeah,
amazing right there. What's
yeah.
up, Off-Road X-Files, Mr. Jimmy? We just I filmed that with this guy right here yesterday. I'll just say what's up to him. So,
What's up?
you said the Centaur had like a bluish body and kind of like high cheekbones, you said? Or did I hear that
And
wrong?
And also, did it
body.
have the same skin as a horse, or was it just like skin like us? You know?
So, oh my gosh. I don't know if you guys ever saw Harry Potter. I think it
Yeah.
was The Prisoner of Azkaban, or one of the movies where there was a scene with the centaur. It looked exactly like that. And when I saw the movie in theaters, I was like, oh, I've seen one of those.
Yeah.
But it
Yeah.
wasn't
Please.
brown, it was like a bluish gray. And it had like a long, I
Goatee.
guess, beard. It wasn't goatee, it was a beard. So the beard
Oh, beard.
went from all the way up here, and then it kind of went sort of like mine, but it was really long, and it had a stench to it. And
What?
the hair was back. It was pulled back. I don't know what was holding it, but it was pulled back.
It was
And
well kept.
yeah, and his bone structure almost looked caveman like. Very profound forehead.
Brow ridge.
Um, the ears were almost pointy, like elf-like. Ugh, just getting the chills talking about it.
We gotta
Yeah,
draw
tell
this.
me about it, man. That's scary, man. That was really scary.
That's amazing.
Did you ever see a belly button on this thing?
Um, no, I wasn't about to like check it out, like scope it out. Like
No, yeah, no, I
literally,
understand.
um, it had the leg, the horse body, pretty much just the horse body. And then from where the neck starts up, it had the torso. It was, I don't know if you want to call it muscular, but the hair blended into the body. I don't know if it had a belly button. Um,
Kind of went up on to the stomach, the hair, like the mane
yeah,
type of
it
deal.
it blended into the body. The bodies blended into each other. It wasn't just like horse and then body. It just blended in together, and the hair kind of went up. He had like this gray, like his goatee went down, and then he had a patch of hair that went up like this, and then it slowly went down to the side, and then all this was hairy right here, and then his hands were there was hair on his knuckles.
Yeah.
He literally had a man's body on the top, and of course the broad shoulders like this. His neck it wasn't really long. And then I noticed the hair, the ears, the profound eyebrow ridge, the hair, like it was just it freaked me out when I saw Harry Potter. And then the other day I was watching Hercules. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot I had a story about that where we were playing hide and seek. So when you see movies with centaurs, that's exactly how they look. It's very intriguing. It's scary. I still don't know what to think of it, and I don't know. I don't know if I want to ever see one ever again.
Wow.
This was outside of Gallup, right? As well.
No, this took place in Superman Canyon. So
I've heard that
it's
before. Superman came.
it's where they actually filmed
Okay.
Superman in the 50s, 60s. Um,
Petrified Forest, right? Is that the Petrified Forest?
no.
Oh, okay.
So when you go to Pinedale, there's that canyon. So when you go past Church Rock, you go into like the speedway they call Dead Horse, the infamous Dead Horse Mustang store. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. In that area is Superman Canyon.
Wow. Jeez.
Wow. Definitely gotta
Yeah.
check this place out.
Hey, check this out. That might have been Lee. He said, "What? That's where I'm from." Probably was Lee you saw. No, just kidding. I'm sorry. I just threw you off the topic.
I don't care where Lee's from. Just kidding. I'm just
We're
kidding, Lee.
playing Lee. So,
And
Superman Canyon. We that has receipts of Centaur. That's multiple times I've been hearing Centaurs hanging out there. Go ahead, Darren. You had a question.
was this thing wearing any clothing? Did it have a bag or
Satchel?
satchels or jewelry, anything like that? Bow, maybe?
Not this one.
Wait. So you saying that you said now you've seen a couple of them, more than one, right?
Yeah, not this one. This
Whoa, shoot.
one.
Okay. All right. Well,
Um,
dang. Uh, wow. All right, dude. Was this the first time you seen them, or?
that was my first experience. So I thought, and then my cousin was like, because when I first started telling the story, she goes, "That's not your first encounter." She kind of text messaged me after the live. I said, "What do you mean?" She goes, "Remember when we went to the outhouse late at night when Uncle didn't want us to take us, and we saw something in the horse corral?" And I'm sitting there like, "No." She told me the story. I said, "Oh, that's right." Um, so
All right, Maddie. You got to
that's a
roll us into
whole
that one.
that's a
Is
whole
that
different
going to take? Oh,
huh?
that's a whole different. Might
Go
take a
ahead,
bit
go
time.
ahead, tell us. Go ahead, tell us. Don't just give us a crumb. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean that's just what I'm saying. Like I was gonna go into that. I was just want to make sure
Uh,
you guys are done asking your questions.
yeah, maybe. Well, maybe a part two. Let's roll down the line of your. You talked about the Slenderman. Give us a bit more of the Skinwalkers. What's ones? You tell a couple stories. You have Bigfoot. Goatman. All this good stuff. And I hate to say it like that, but I'm pretty sure you were just scared out of your mind.
We
So,
gotta. We have a good
uh,
question here, real quick. But oh yeah, go ahead there. Sorry, go ahead. I'll wait till after you. Go ahead there.
yeah, let's roll down to Skinwalker and maybe Little People if you have any, and maybe we'll talk more about this centaur on a part two.
Yeah.
Definitely be a part two because.
Oh yeah. He
Um,
already has one coming up. But we have Off-Road X-Files asking, what was it doing in the corral?
you're just kind of wait for
That's
part
my.
two.
Oh come on! I'm like, what was it doing in the corral? I mean, like, I'm stuck right there. So you guys are carrying on. Like, wait. But okay, go ahead. All right. What's the next
I can't
question?
tell that story. What I'm doing right now is telling the stories in the order of occurrences. So what I mean by that is
Oh,
these
okay.
are from the very beginning to
Oh, okay.
what happened last week. There's so many
Mm,
milestones, so many memories and traumas that I've
right.
been through. So I'm just
Mhm.
going to I mean, if you want me to jump here and there,
Oh no,
Oh,
it's all
no,
good.
no,
that's
no.
that's
It's all good.
fine.
It's all good.
Yeah.
It's
Uh,
all good.
better yet, when was this period where you seen this Slender Man to this centaur? How long was the time gap in between that?
So
Oh, you said about
this
2 months,
was like
huh?
seven
Is that
months.
7 months? Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, so this was around the year 1999.
Mm,
Um, Maybe I should tell my stories from like years. So I'll tell my stories from not a lot had happened within the first year of losing my mother until that story. So that was in 2000. Oh, 2001. I was 12 and I forgot why we were at my Nolly's. It was during the summertime. I just finished fifth grade going into sixth grade. And this was like maybe let's see, March. So about 4 months prior to my first encounter. But I don't know if I've lost you guys. So this happened in December. Wait, hold on. I'm getting my timelines. So before that March incident, that was my second encounter with the centaur. The first one was in December, a couple of months after I initially lost my mother. I forgot why we were at my Nolly's, and we, I remember I was sitting there. We were there all day, all weekend actually. This happened on Saturday night. It wasn't snowing, it wasn't muddy. It was cold, of course, but it wasn't It wasn't like there was no mud. And I forgot why I was there. I was there with my other cousin and, well, actually, two of my cousins, my uncle and my grandma. I forgot why I was there. I don't know why I was there, but I was sitting there. I'm like, oh, we have to go outside. I need to go outside and go to the restroom because, she's very old school. So she has an outhouse like maybe 50 feet from the house and it's really far. And behind that outhouse or in front of the outhouse, there's a horse corral. So that was about maybe, I would say 30 yards from the outhouse. So I wake up my cousin. I'm all, hey, Desiree. I said, I need to go to the restroom. She goes, have uncle take you. Because Desiree lived there. She lived there permanently. I was there visiting. And then our younger cousin, she was like, no, I'm okay. So then she went back to sleep. Went to go wake up my uncle. He goes, it's okay. Just go outside. There's nothing outside. And I don't know what time it was, but I started to put on my shoes and everything. And then my Nolly goes, Shiaja, where are you going? I said, I need to go to the restroom. And she got after my uncle. He goes, they're okay. It's just right there. I mean, being so little, you're like, it's not right there. It seems far. And then he goes, have Desiree go with you. Desiree, go get the go get the flashlight, go outside. So we were outside and it was really quiet, like so quiet, it was eerie. And he goes, Desiree, why don't we just use grandma's restroom on the porch? She goes, that's just for grandma, we can't use it. And it was one of those old school like wooden chairs with the bucket. Just because she's an elder, she can't make it to the house. So I wanted to use that. I had this itchy feeling in my throat that I was um like something was gonna happen, something was gonna get me. I had that like urge. So I told Des, I said, no, I said, let's just use this. I said, I'll clean it out, I'll wipe down, I'll clean it. She goes, no, we can't. She goes, we have to go to that house. So we start walking and everything, and we're talking, trying to keep our spirits up, walking to the outhouse. And with my peripheral vision, I could see the horses running around kind of clockwise. And I noticed this one other horse that looked different. And you could hear something whirling like woo, 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 woo. And we both ran in that outhouse. And I said, turn off your flashlight. And before she could, we hear something galloping up to the outhouse. And it galloped and then it went away. I looked through the crescent moon that was carved out of the outhouse. I looked through there. I said, there's nothing. I said, which horse, got out? So I stood outside and Desiree went to go use the restroom. And I noticed when she was using the restroom, I was looking at the horse corral. One of the horses had a rope around its neck. And this rope was the color of like that burlap text, like that thick rope, like that itchy rope. I don't know what you want to call it. It's not twine, but it's one of those heavy, like those heavy ropes. And it was around the horse. It was around what was that horse? It was a certain brand. Oh my gosh. Like those Appalachia horses. We had one of those. Appalachia. It was around that
Listen.
horse. Yeah, Appaloosa, and it was going crazy. I was like, there's a right there. And we called her Sunny. Sunny was the horse. I said, Sunny's going crazy, and she has like this thick rope. Like, I thought you guys don't tie up your horses. She goes, we don't. And she goes, I'm almost done. And she walks out the flashlight, and she has it on. And I was, we switched off. And she was talking. She goes, oh, yeah, Sunny does have a rope around her neck. She goes, I wonder why. So she was spotting the horse corral with the light. We had one of those flashlights that were huge, like you can adjust it. And I remember it was yellow and black. And the button, the handle, you had to hold it and you had to press the button to turn it on. And you can, change the scope of how far the flashlight shines. And she shined the flashlight at the horse corral. And she said, Matt, that rope is thick. And she was telling me it looks heavy. And I was like, oh, like maybe we'll take it off. My bright idea, maybe we'll take it off. I got done in the outhouse and everything, and we start making our way to the horse corral. And again, I had that weird, sweaty horse smell. I'm like, ew, what is that? And the hairs on my arm stood up, back of my neck, and I just felt like that itchiness in my throat, like that hoarseness in my throat. And when we were about halfway, we saw it. We saw the centaur. It had this one was more like a dark brown, like if you were to work in the sun all day and you had that dark tan, it had that color. The horse was brown, the hooves were black. It had no sock. The tail was braided, and he had another rope that went around his underarm on his right side. It went up, and this one had like a little purse or some type
Hmm.
of bag on the other side. So he had something like this. This was the rope, and this was the bag. And on his left wrist, he had like this. I don't know if it was jewelry or like a bow guard, but
Bogart.
it was metal. And I remember he didn't see us coming, but we saw it, and it was trying to open the corral. So it reached over the gate and it was trying to unlock it. And I don't know why, but Desiree dropped the flashlight and it saw us. And the eyes were like this bright yellow creature like fluorescence shining off into the flashlight. And this thing, I remember it backed up and then it leaped over the fence. It left Sunny in the corral. It took off and we ran so fast into the outhouse. And she was crying. I said, shh. I said, I need to, we need to figure out where this is at. And I said, lock the latch on the inside. So we locked the latch. And let me tell you, when this thing caught up to us, it was trying to like it was shaking the outhouse. I thought it was gonna fall over. And when I started to say, go on, like leave us alone, my uncle comes running out. He goes, what the hell are you guys doing? Why are you guys making all that noise? And I just pointed at the corral because we ran out the outhouse. I pointed at the corral, and the centaur was already running off with Sunny over the hill. And we lived, my Nolly's residence was next to an arroyo. We just seen Sunny go down in with the centaur, and she never came back. Few days later, we found the body. It was just ripped to pieces. It was like the whole middle was gone. It looked like they just took off all the meat and left just skin and bone. Um, had to get something done just because of what we experienced and what I told them and what I saw. So to this day, I can't be around horses. I just that smell. I can't. So that was my first encounter, and that one was when I say it looked different. It looked different.
My gosh.
Wow.
Real quick, Darren, hang on real quick here. We got BCast33 says, what's the spinning rope sound? I've heard that before during sleep paralysis. And then we got another one right here says, Stark of Winterfall 14. Welcome in, Stark of Winterfall 14. Says, spinning rope sounds reminds me of the sound used in old Apache songs. And we had a Navajo one too, where spinning rope
Yeah.
as well, the water sprinkler, right? So so it was a so it was a catching this a horse named Sunny, is that correct?
Yeah. Well, I guess whatever horse it could rope with the lasso it used. And
Oh no, mate.
it had like a like this weird deep whirling sound. Um, if you were to swing a rope, any type of rope, a heavy rope, and it has that whoa, 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 like it was very distinctive. And I just to hear that and see, the rope go over this beautiful horse and just, finding the body later, like a few days later, I was just like in shock because I saw I could have did something, like I felt like I could have done something. Um, but if you were to sing any type of rope, that's what it sounded, but with a deeper sound.
Okay, heavier. Darren, you got a question?
Uh, how many horses were in a corral, and what was the gender of Sunny?
Sunny was a male. She was sort of like, well, first we caught her as a wild stallion. We don't know where she came from, or he came from, sorry. And we had a matriarch horse called Lucky, and she was a Palomino horse. So they were a pair. And he was the only male. There were some foals and some colts, but they weren't of age, I guess you can say. We had like maybe 4 of them altogether, and the rest were all female. So I don't know if it was a territorial type of thing or I don't know. The medicine man, the healer
Go ahead.
did say it could be something of that aspect, but just keep this because he gave us a few things to put around the property, just to kind of keep those things away. And that was my very first encounter before hide and seek. So when Darren asked about Julie, I just immediately saw his bow guard on his left wrist.
Yeah, it's the Native American aspect of these cryptic. They're usually depicted with jewelry, believe it or not. Or wearing clothes. It's really odd. But I always mention this: the centaur that was told to me was actually picking green chili, and I had a bag, a satchel on this, picking up green chili. So, in another couple other stories of this dog character wearing jewelry, contra belt, necklace, jewelry. It's crazy, but that's stories that I hear all the time. Is these things wearing jewelry? So, that's it's really
so
odd.
you said
That's something
yeah.
But my question is
definitely
why
odd.
my question, like I asked myself, like, so does that make this centaur like a cannibal? I don't know if he
That's what I
actually
was
ate.
gonna say.
Yeah, like what, why
Yeah,
would they even go after their own kind? You know what I mean? Like it's it doesn't sit well with me. Every time I go there, I just think like, man, I was only
so
to
it
see what
ate the midsection or like the okay, how did it when you guys found
So
the
when
horse?
we found the body, the legs were all broken. Um, the head was missing. It had a clear cut line from the neck all the way down to its rear end. The tail was gone, like all the hairs were gone. It was just all bone. And my dad goes, "Look away!" And we were sheep herding, and we've already like lost hope that we weren't gonna see him again, like Sunny. And we took Lucky with us, thinking since that's his mate, it would attract him to come back. But it just turns out that we found him as I described it.
Man, that's pretty
And
wild right there.
when I say it was just all skin and bone, it was just, oof. I don't know how
so.
they do it, or if the coyotes got to him, or it was just
I knew
So
the
saying
centaur wasn't really nice at all because it picked on us in Miami Valley, and this is the first time hearing this, and it's quite disturbing actually, and there's going to be another layer of us on the Navajo Nation and our families to be aware, because it's going to be another thing carrying you off and maybe devouring you, you know and wow. That's a lot to take in, just that right there, trying to process that. And still, but Darren, you have any questions you want to ask?
You'd happen to see if this thing had what kind of teeth it had, Yeah, just saying that.
Right,
Yeah.
horse meat is
Yeah.
healthy. Horse meat's healthy.
For sure.
Bigfoot likes horse meat.
I don't like horse meat. It's too salty. But
I
I
like horse
do
meat.
I do know the Apaches eat that during their times and stuff. But for me it's too salty. As far as teeth, I didn't see like I said, I didn't see a good description. I was a little kid, I was scared. My dad or my uncles be like, "Hey, the man's gonna get you." That was man for me. But if I were to see it again, I would probably really go into more like really pay attention to detail.
Oh yeah, for real. Exactly.
Yeah.
We have a crazy coyote 1313 here. It says old Roman / Greek Italy and Greece texts state that centaurs can eat meat, and horse meat is food over there, and they love women. So ladies, be careful out there. Ooh, do you hear that, ladies? Man,
Ew.
that's
Yep.
another thing.
So
But yeah, then he comes back, says Apache spinning rope. I've heard that before. It makes a buzzing sound. I wonder if they made that rope with a yucca fiber rope, like the old days. The old ancestors used to make their rope from yucca fiber, and that's how they captured Bigfoot one time. They just had a bunch of yucca fiber rope, and they tied him down. I heard out there in New Mexico and Arizona border side of the Navajo Nation that went down there back in the day.
Um,
Uh, uh,
if I were to see that rope, I would probably recognize it, but I've never come across that rope. And the thickness of it was probably um funny thing, it's probably like the thickness of a Red Bull can. Like it was just that
oh,
thick. I've never seen this type of rope, and to see it up close. And one thing I did leave out is when we found Sunny, there were these like marks on the neck where the rope was, and the rope was embedded into the skin, like it burned it, like it singed the hair around the neck. So
wow.
there's that too. Um I had bad dreams about it. I would wake up screaming middle of the night, and that's when I had to go to a healer, and that's when he told us, you need to do this and that, and put this up around the house. And I didn't go up to my grandma's for a while.
Well, so saying that, where do you think all these centaurs belong in the Navajo Nation compared to that they had one of the commons Greek and all that? Where do you think they belong at? Do you think these centaurs roam the world just like Bigfoot, or where do you think they come from?
My honest answer, they're probably part of the land that they just was taken from them. Just with the Anasazis, the LPs, Bigfoot, all these creatures were probably part of our culture. We just never like we lost a lot of it. But this is just much their land as ours. I mean, I'm pretty sure they were here taking care of it before we got here. And then, with it, being part of a Greek culture, I would think they would have, crossed over when they had the land bridge, just like with our people that did. Maybe they were followed. I don't know. But as someone who's indigenous, and for many of you who are out there, we were told to respect them and treat them as, animals, like
Mm.
part of nature. Like, we don't bother them, we don't chase after them, we respect them. And if they bother you, then you still have to respect them. But
Mhm.
there, I think there's a correlation between Bigfoot and centaurs. I think they
Ooh,
they use
tell us.
portals. I think they use portals, but I could be wrong.
Yep.
Ooh.
And so, saying that, do you believe there is a culture out there of these centaurs? And even if there is, it's quite unique, for them wearing jewelry and crafting rope, stuff like that. So, do you think there's a whole hidden society out there of these creatures?
Oh, definitely. I mean, for them to be wearing jewelry that we would see on our people, our internet people, or if they're part of Apache land, of course they're gonna wear something. Um, I think, like, back to what I was saying, I think they were part of our culture at one point. We did trades with them, for protection and stuff like that. I think we had a good um bond with them, but over time, I think it was just disconnected. And then same thing with the little people, Anasazis. They have jewelry too. They have these Masani skirts. They have the sash belt. They have the TA. The men wear the bandanas. The little
That's
moccasins
cool.
that they have.
Hmm.
Some little people have like beaded bracelets that are like coming apart. You can see the buckskin being revealed from all the beads falling off. They have the collar, the metal collars that the women wear. I've seen one with I don't know what type of squash blossom, but it was really skinny and some of the stones were missing and it was very tarnished. Um it just I believe they're part of our culture. Like I said, I strongly believe they're part of our culture. I believe there's a society out there where we're just not seeing them, and I don't think I want to see this society.
Right.
Right.
And I don't think anyone should experience that.
Check this out here. We got a friend Meadows says my grandpa my grandpa used to say they take jewelry from the dead. Wow, huh? That's another thing to think about right there.
Yeah. And,
Yeah,
and
that's
one more question,
go ahead there.
Maddie. How tall was this thing? How tall, if you're gonna put a measurement on it?
Above 7 feet for sure.
Mhm.
But I was
Were
I
the
was a
hands?
little kid. I was a little kid too, so I
Oh,
mean,
yeah, that is
I,
true.
Yeah, everything's a lot larger for sure.
It,
Wow.
and,
Mm.
and also, was the body proportional? Was the any limbs longer, or the ears bigger? Like how would you say look?
um, like I said, with the distinct forehead, the high cheekbones,
Mm,
but this one didn't have a beard. It had hair up to its breastbone, and then all of this was like smooth, and it had muscles. Um, and that's how I saw the Bogard. And the ears, they went up. So it went up just like an elf, but it had hair sticking up like this. And then
mm.
the hair was pulled back. Um, and then the color was more of like a reddish brown. It wasn't dark or blue, like a blue gray. Like, it had pink flesh. Like, it was literally a man on a horse body.
Yeah,
Um,
that's crazy. You just saying that, man. It kind of puts chills down your spine. So it was literally it's literally a horse with a man's body on it. That's something else. Saying something like that, crazy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's great detail too, right there.
Mm.
Great tension detail that really paints the mysterious centaur a lot better. I've also heard they have huge eyes too, huge black eyes, and one was spotted without it didn't keep its hair.
Mm.
Its hair was just gorgeous and just in the wind out there in Chinle. And my uncle seen one in Miami Valley, and that one its hair might have been kept. Its hair might have been pulled back because he saw the face. It was white and its eyes was red. That's what he's seen. Whew, man. Yeah, Maddie, go ahead and lead us into your next encounter, if you will. What happened after your centaur?
So that happened. Hide and seek happened. Oh, the next one. Well, not we, but the so again, I went with my dad on the weekend. Um, and I only seen him on the weekend. Again, they went to another country western dance, and they were playing with the Ouija board again. This time it was, the thing actually moved and I walked out. I remember the triangle moved and it was spelling a word. I walked out immediately. I sat in the living room. I was watching TV. This was during the summertime. And they had Rottweilers as dogs. This was like years later after hide and seek. So there was this abandoned hogan that someone had recently passed. And it was the hogan was very run down. It was just there for looks, basically. So they were asking this board, the Ouija board, questions. And my dad and his girlfriend were at a country dance. And this happened about maybe 10, almost close to 11, like 10:45, 10:50. And the little cousin that they had lived up the hill from them. So he walked down and he's like, "What are you guys doing?" And then the other little brother comes up. So they're two little cousins, and then the son and daughter, me, and one of their older cousins. They were all playing. Like I said, I went into the room. I was watching South Park on the TV, and the one that walked down the first time around, he's like, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm watching TV." And right when he sat down, all the dogs started barking, and they lived in a metal trailer, so there was no AC. And of course, during the summertime, it's either open all the windows or, roast inside the house. So we opened all the windows, and I remember the dogs were just barking and barking and barking and barking. And I was watching South Park. I remember South Park in this episode, they were at a skating rink. One of them had slipped and blood started coming out of his foot, and it was a joke and everything. And right then we seen this big black figure slowly run across the window, and it ran so slow I saw the eyes, they were beaming red.
Mm.
I was like, "Oh, that's a big dog." And then the cousin goes, "Yeah, I didn't know they had a big dog." And then the Rottweilers that they had ran like maybe 10 seconds after that. I was like, "Oh, did you see that?" I freaked out. And then right when we stood up, we were going to the back to tell my dad's girlfriend's daughter and son. Right when we were walking down the hallway into down the trailer, we heard them scream. And the cousin and I, we both ran in there because it was a scream, like it was a scream for help. And when we went into the room, the lights were off, and I remember I was looking around like, where did they go? We heard them screaming, and I saw a shadow. We were in the daughter's room. We saw a shadow by the window, and when I looked at it, it like went to the side, and then the son goes, "What the heck was that?" And I was like, "What are you guys talking about?" And then they were telling us that when they were asking questions on the Ouija board, the board flew um, beside them and hit the window. and then they heard a loud knock on the window, and they heard, "Hey." So when they went up to look at it, they opened the curtain and they saw someone of like a blue spirit in the hogan, and that's when the daughter freaked out. The daughter freaked out and she screamed, and she was like in this paralyzed state. Not even a few minutes after that happened, my dad and his girlfriend come back, and it's always when they like everything that had happened, they always come up. And my dad goes, "What are you doing up so late?" I said, And then the son comes up, "Mom, this is what happened." And I guess she saw the Ouija board on the floor and she was getting mad. And my dad goes, "I hope you were playing that stupid game." I said, "No, Dad, I wasn't." I said, once I found out they were playing it and asking questions, I walked out. And she was telling my dad, call the healer. We need to go see him now. And they left. And my dad stayed with me, and he took or the girlfriend took the daughter along with the cousins and the aunt, because the aunt came down to heal. And they were gone for about an hour, and they came back, and you can tell she was like crying and sad or whatever. And then I went into the room and I go, "Are you okay?" She goes, "Yeah, man, I'll be okay." She goes, "Don't," she goes, "just stay out of this room." She goes, "I'm gonna go sleep out in the camper." My dad had a camper on his truck. And I was like, "Oh, cool, we're gonna sleep out there." After the fact that, what had happened. So there wasn't enough room. All the little ones, including myself, we were like told not to stay, we can't stay in there. So I was kind of upset. I went inside and I remember I laid down, and then you hear them laughing and everything, and then it got quiet. And then you hear someone say, "Oh, shoot." And they're all running inside and everything, and then they let the camper door open. And the son goes, "Matt." I go, "What?" He goes, "Were you guys outside?" I said, "No." And my dad goes, "What's going on?" And my dad comes out of the room with a girlfriend, and they're outside the door. And my dad goes, "Hey, you need to stay away from here." He saw an SW jump down from the tree that sat between the trailer and that abandoned hogan, jump down from the tree, drop its hide or whatever, and it took off into the night. So they had to go back to the medicine man again. And when they went back, my dad left me. He left me with all the other kids, and they had to bring the healer back to the trailer. So when they were gone, we heard some scratching. It started from the northeast corner of the trailer and went all the way around counterclockwise, and it was just nails on a chalkboard all the way around the house, and it wouldn't stop. And I was starting to like tear up because I was getting scared. And I didn't get no feeling with this one, but I could just see or hear someone screaming in my ear, but no one was talking because we were all quiet sitting in the living room. And then it got to the porch, it stopped, and then you hear on the fourth step, that just told us that it was on the porch. And then you hear all the way up to the door, and it was shaking the screen door. And then the little cousin that I was with, he started crying, and they were trying to tell him to keep quiet. And this happened for like a good minute, and then it went away. And then when it walked away, it just went. I mean, you could just hear the hooves or whatever it was wearing walk off the porch. And again, not even 10, like 5 minutes later, they showed up with the healer, and the healer came off the ride and just immediately started smoking out the place. And I guess he already had felt something was there. And that was my story, that he blessed the place. He told us don't go in this area for a couple of days. I need to come over here with some other healers and pick up this skin. I don't know what's on there. As far as the Hogan, we weren't allowed to go in there anymore.
Hmm.
So that was my first
This
experience with an SW.
this Hogan, who was this Hogan belong to? Was it part of your
The
family?
girlfriend,
Or?
big. No, it was. This isn't family land. This was the girlfriend's land. So
Oh,
yeah, I guess her. I think it was her Nolly that had passed in there, and the
oh,
daughter. The daughter had seen that lady and described the lady to her mom, and the girlfriend, the mom freaked out. She's like, "That's my grandma. Like, how do you even know that? Like, you're too young to even like tell me what she looked like." So that was my first experience with Skinwalker.
wow.
You're all SW like it's TikTok.
Okay.
No, it's YouTube. It's all good, Maddie. It's all good. Everyone is enjoying the stories.
Oh yeah.
So is Darren and I for sure. We're running low on time, guys. And Darren, do you have any questions you want to ask Maddie before we wind
Oh
this
yeah.
down?
Using your senses, do you smell anything during this or any of these events besides that? You know, the centaur. Did you see these skinwalkers stink or smell good?
No, they don't smell good. Um, I I pick up energy, like I said, and usually when something is about to occur, I either get itchy or sweaty palms, or I feel like how when someone has a bass system in their car and
Mm.
you can feel those vibrations and they're so strong, even though the car is far away or even 20 yards away, you can feel it or you can hear it. I can hear them at first, and that just tells me that they're either on their way or they're lurking um, a distance. But if I can feel it, that means they're a little too close.
Whoa, so you kind of have like a radar on you, huh?
Hmm.
Hand trembler.
They are.
That's a hand trembler. Get him, Lee, and probably 3 more hand tremblers together. We can clean the house on the Navajo Nation. Just imagine, huh? Get them
So
all
when I'm
together. Where they at?
like,
Get him, guys. I'm just kidding. Go ahead,
when I'm
man.
at the flea market or Walmart, um, I can feel those vibrations and they're loud. And sometimes I'm like, huh, huh. And my family always teases me like, why can you hear us? You can't hear us. So, um, when I went to school at UNM, there was an occurrence. I had a Navajo class and there was just this ringing in my ear, ringing, 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 ringing. There was a gentleman on my right hand side and he kept looking in his bag. He kept digging in his bag. And I was like, oh, maybe I'm just freaking out. Like we're in a classroom, middle of the day. This was like about maybe 11 o'clock in the morning. And I remember he dropped his bag and it sounded like rocks. I was like, what are you doing carrying their arrowheads? I didn't mean anything of it. I was just joking. And he looked at me like I knew something. And after that, when he opened his bag, it smelled like death, like something was infected. And when I got that whip and the way he looked at me when I joked, I dropped that class and the ringing stopped. But because of that, I used to stay on campus. And I think he did something where I could see um, things at night. I had to get that lifted off of me. Um, and during a whole different ceremony. And there's stories where actually that happened in the dormitories at UNM in Albuquerque. So I did find out that some of the dormitories were actually part of the hospital where patients
Oh
left
shit!
actually
Damn.
left. Yeah, so Yeah,
Wow.
there's that too. So
That sounds like another chapter right there in itself. Ooh, can't wait for that, Maddie. So we're on Saturday nights now, and I got you down on May 24th, and I think I might have accidentally switched you, but I'll put you on May 23rd because we're on Saturdays now. So is that okay with you? May 23rd for your part two,
May 23rd.
which is gonna be right around the corner. And then
Yeah.
while you're here, let's book you for part three because I know it's gonna be a book. It's gonna be a
Yeah,
book. So we
yeah,
got
we got the April
go ahead.
book of Maddie going on right
Yeah.
now. The whole Chronicles.
Oh yeah, Chronicles of Manny. So we got October 17th and 24th and 31st available for part three.
I don't know. Like they're all gonna be at 8 o'clock, right?
Yeah, 8 o'clock. We'll just keep it open. We'll debate that. We'll plan that out more as
Okay.
we get closer. But
Yep.
yeah, we appreciate your time, Maddie, and
Oh yeah.
it's spent well here with us, and everyone here is gonna love hearing your encounters, your true stories here, Spotify, TikTok. So I'm gonna be making some shorts for the TikTok verse. And Darren, do you have any final thoughts and questions for Maddie before we close out?
Oh, I listen to your stories, on TikTok, and some of them deal with children, and it always makes me kind of smile, like man, he's going through trouble like this, and he puts himself in the way of, puts himself in front of the danger for these children. And that's one thing I always kind of admire, like, dang, like, that's not being selfish, he's taking the role as taking the man title and protecting children from, the first one was from Bigfoot, that's during the New Year's. And, I think that's a pretty good trait, amazing trait to have. And it's good to know you. It's good to talk to you. You learn a lot. I can kind of learn a lot from all the encounters, and my mind always runs when it comes down to stuff like this. And thank you for coming on. And we'll most likely have you on again because you got a whole life encounters going on. And thank you for joining us and being on the UPRN. So. And
no
man, you did pretty good, dude. You're doing pretty good for radio right now.
It's nerve-wracking. I mean, thinking that I'm on the radio, but yeah, anything for kids. I love kids. I would think if I were to have kids, someone would be there to protect them, There are several stories that I do, as you heard, that involve the trampoline, hiking. And I love them.
Trampoline was
They
scary.
drive me nuts. I love them, but yeah, I would do anything. As far as putting myself in danger, that's just not something that's like, oh, should I? No, it's like, no, I need to. Like, it's not a question. But thank you for the admiration. I didn't know that. That's cool. That's pretty cool. And then with these stories, I'm not even a fourth of the way. That's just the beginning.
Oh yeah.
So,
Oh yeah. I can't wait for his trampoline episode. That one, the dog man jacked up the guy. So that one, everyone needs to listen to. That one's very special. But Maddie, from Darren and I and everyone, all of our followers out there, we like to say thank you and welcome to the family. Like you already been a part of us since
you're
New Year's.
welcome. It's
We
my
like
it's
to
my
say welcome
pleasure.
back, brother.
It's my
Awesome,
pleasure, and I hope
awesome.
you guys enjoy the story. So we'll see you guys on the
Heck
next
yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Of course, of course. All right, Darren, you want to say laters to Maddie?
Well, Maddie, leave you with one of the best Pink Floyd songs, Dale Gilmer songs out there. Shine On, You Crazy Diamond. Has been an adventure. So just be you, and no one else can be you but you. So that's all we need
Most
in this world.
definitely. Thank you.
Yep.
Exactly. Heck yeah. Well said, Darren. Well said. You guys all out there, I hope you guys give Maddie a warm round applause and thank you. Whenever you see him out there, make sure you say thank you and say some kind words to him for his service, what he's doing in his community, being a bright spot there for all of us and sharing his bright spot here on the radio, on the United Public Radio Network with us. From myself, from my family, Darren's family, all of us here, thank you, Maddie. Appreciate
You're so
it.
welcome.
You have a wonderful evening, and I'm gonna close us out right now. Okay, guys. Okay, thank you for tuning into Don't Whistle at Night. We have been broadcasting live here on the United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM in New Orleans. I am your host, Don Yazzie, my brother Darren Yazzie, and we got brother Matty down here. You guys have a great one. Matthew, great one. God bless. Godspeed.
All right, you guys have a night. Bye.
Guys. See ya.
Welcome to Don't Whistle at Night podcast, where Navajo legends echo in the shadows. Darren and Dawn will guide you through the sacred fire of native storytelling, where the old stories breathe, the unknown walks among us, and voices, long hidden, rise to be heard. And remember, don't whistle at night.